your last book, Matt, was on the values of the country. Do you think actually the values represented here are more in line with that of the British people than perhaps Davos?
I think that's certainly true. We've just heard from Jordan Peterson, who's talked about the importance of people taking responsibility for their own lives. He's talked about the importance of having a shared story, a different story of who we are, one that recognises the importance of family, nation, tradition. And I think if you look across the West, this is the key story. What is the narrative now that holds us together? And I think there are lots of people, as they look at the demonstrations in London, as they look at the rise of groups like Hamas, as they look at the radical left, identity politics, I think lots of people who are probably watching this show, tuning into GB News, are probably thinking, what is our shared story anymore? Because it feels to a lot of people as though we're only interested in attacking our story, attacking our history, attacking our identity, deconstructing who we are. And I think what the people at this conference are saying is, actually, we've got a remarkable legacy. We should be proud of that legacy. We should tell our children and their children about that legacy. And we should try and push back against the forces of darkness and division. And that's ultimately what it's about today. And I don't think everybody will agree with everything that's said, but there is, I think, a shared interest in carving out a different story of who we are.
And just finally then, what is the message that you wish politicians would actually take away from conferences such as this one?
Well, I think if you look at politics on both the left and the right, what we've got now, as I've written about extensively, is this elite class that's really only representing the values of 20% of the country. I mean, look, the reason why media like GB News are taking off, the reason why these conferences are happening, the reason why there are so many podcasts and YouTube shows and everything else, is because people are hungry for a different story. They're hungry for a different narrative about what is it that's holding us together and how can we create a better future for our kids. Because you look around and I think we can all share a consensus, whether on the left, the right, in the middle, upside, downside, whatever, that what we are latching onto at the moment is insufficient. It's divisive, it's making us depressed, it's making us lonely, and the range of speakers they've got here, which I actually think is quite impressive, they're actually saying, let's try and change the conversation. Let's try and do that, beginning with people who can cascade some of that downstream.
Matt Goodwin will no doubt be seeing you on GB News very shortly. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Darren.